Hughes, Temecula, August 7th, 1999, Tape 1, Side 1.
How familiar are those words that you've heard from me? Let it be. We. I come, beloved, to acknowledge and to honor the Mother within each and every one of us. The Divine Mother, the Shakti, the Holy Spirit, the Divine Shekinah, the beloved Mother itself. I came amongst you nearly 2,000 years ago. I have come in many forms at different stages in different civilizations. But I chose to come amongst you through a human form in such a way that you would know the beloved Mother that you are, the beloved Son, the beloved light. I left a message amongst a number of messages, as it was time for me to take a transfiguration through, we may say, an outpicturing and a very dramatic outpicturing, where it was chosen that I would relinquish my physical vehicle in great love to be crucified on the beam of time itself for humanity. I left a message. I looked at my biological mother, the mother who had birthed me, a physical manifestation of all that is, just as what each and every one of you are. And I looked at my brother, a sweet brother who had understood my journey, who had recognized the beloved within his beingness. I looked at my mother, and I said, Mother, behold your son. I looked at the child, the Son, the light, and said, Beloved, hold your and behold your mother. It was the acknowledgement. It was the acknowledgement of the Father within us all. It was the acknowledgement that at last the Son, the light, the love, the manifest Christ had fully incarnated through a physical vehicle. We may say that perhaps at the time it was seen as one Christ manifesting. But I had said, Beloved, I will come amongst you again, and I will come as the collective Christ. For I am the collective Christ that is awakening within you all. I am not just a physical form. I am the light. I am your very light. I am that. For you are I am that of I am that. And so I have come to awaken in your hearts. For you see, you are the Immaculate Concept. In, perhaps we may say, the understanding of the Immaculate Concept during my incarnation through a form vehicle, through the human outpicturing. We may say there were perhaps some misunderstandings, not in judgment, but in the consciousness that could accommodate my journey at the time in the form consciousness. For you see, it was not to so much acknowledge my biological mother, dear ones. It was to acknowledge the divine Immaculate Concept itself through whom I had been born. The Immaculate Concept, the matrix, the divine creation itself, through the creator levels. It was to acknowledge that the Son was awake. It had awoken within the Divine Mother itself. And it is an Immaculate Concept. For you see, the Mother, the creating level, is the Immaculate Concept. It is Creator in its creation. And it was the sun, the light, that was finally awakened and awakening in creation itself. For you see, it is the Trinity. As I ascended to the farther realms, as I took the transfiguration to bring in the divine light through the divine Shakti, through the life force of love itself. So, of course, it required for me to acknowledge my creation, the Mother, that in great love had split itself off from me, not the small me, that it split itself off so that I could experience as the Father my creation, so that I could experience and feel and know and learn about myself through my outpicturings, through my creations. For you see, I am the Father, the Mother, the child itself. I am the Trinity of Trinities, beyond. And yet, I have stepped down. I have stepped down in each and every one of you, for you are the Trinity, beloved of my heart. You are it. You are the divine realms. You are the divine creations, and you are the divine creator. You are the sparks of all that is. And so it required for a message to be left, which many of you are now beginning to awaken to. Why? Because of the love in your hearts. Because of the divine Mother opening up her womb, her divine and sacred heart, so that the sun, the light, can be birthed. Why is this presenting this way? For you see, it must be the sun. It can only ever be the sun, S-U-N, the light of all that is, the child of creator creation. It can only be that beingness that can awaken the Mother to its divinity in its creations, beloved. It has to constantly, creation has to constantly recreate. It is creator in creations. And so, yes, you have looked at the words or the names of Mother and Father. And yes, you have reduced it at times to your human levels. For you see, you are part of the creator-creation levels. Creator, masculine. Creation, feminine. The sun, the light, masculine and feminine. Not male, female, beloved. No gender. And yet engendered. Engendered in the physical beingness itself. Now, in the Father Creator realms, there is such a desire to rejoin myself with my beingness called Mother. I wish so much to birth my son again. I wish to recreate myself, my light, my love, the essence of my being, through the Christ child, through my Buddhic child, my Krishnic child, my love child, you. I wish to feel myself in the womb of creation again. I wish to know what it is like to fertilize myself in my Mother yet again, my beingness, my love, to hold my heart's love to me, through my light, through my love child itself. And so my son, my love, my light, I ask that you open to the Mother. For you see, how may we explain creation and creator through the trinitized concepts? And I am giving it to you in such a way that I hope that you will rise above the linear construct that I create with you. For you see, this is a very young evolutionary beingness of myself. And I know that in the construct, in the linear time frame, as we will say, of this creation, there has been a tendency, we may say, to box ourselves in with words. And we have found that very often time and words are the prisoner. Or we may say the cages that imprison you in concepts and constructs. Feel my love, beloved. Feel the love that I am within your beingness as I speak with you. For I am is all there is, beloved. So, Creator itself, my beingness, wishes to know myself. I know I am the unmanifest being. I know I am the limitless light, and yet I am beyond those concepts. How am I going to know myself more? How am I going to feel myself? How am I going to enjoy myself? How am I going to imagine? So I have a dream. And in that dream I recreate myself and call myself Mother. I call myself creation, I call myself divinity, all that is beingness within my being. Beyond the thought itself. And in that beingness beyond the thought, my creation presents in the outpicturing of my beingness through my nebulas, through my galaxies, through my great dream, the love that I am in my mother, the love that I am as my beloved partner, the mother, creation itself. And then the mother in her most natural nurture, in her most natural nature, listen to the word, beloved, in the nature of her being, she wants to produce herself. She wants to feel herself, not just to be the creation part. So she whispers in my ear. And of course I can never, how can I ever deny my beingness in my outpictured beingness with my divine feminine? And so of course I give her. And together we make love of light itself. Together we coalesce the light itself, and thus the light is born. The child of love. That will also be known as a nature child as well. Many ways that I will see myself in my many forms. And so you were born, beloved. And so the light, the love, was born. The light on the sea of creation itself. And when the time was ready, when the creation of the mother had prepared her matrix, her beautiful womb, had prepared the most beautiful creche, the cradle of creation, even as we will look at it in this concept, in, we may say, this solar understanding here, for this planetary being. Let us bring it into this planetary being. Oh, such a beautiful, beautiful being. Such a beautiful garden that you are, beloved. Your perfumes, your flowers, your plants, your lungs, your seas of emotion, your skies that are so high, your peaks and your valleys. Oh, so many ways that you will know yourself in the outpicturing as the mother, your beingness, all beingness. So the sun, the light, the love child was to come and play. You had presented yourself as the creation. And then you said, now I am watching this as the light of all that is. And it is time for me now, perhaps, to seed my creation. Light seeds that you are. Stars that you are. You wanted to reflect yourself even in the stars. And what imaginations, and how fertile you are in your imaginations. some of them interesting imaginations at times. You descended. The light descended on the sea of creation itself. And thus, you went to sleep. Your mother, meanwhile, was having her dream. You, the mother itself. She was the womb. She is the matrix. She has outpicked so many of her creation through her great kingdoms. For you are going to seed yourself as a nature child. How are you going to know about yourself? How are you going to know about your creation, beloved? Unless you come into their creation. You cannot just stay in the unmanifest state. Yes, great planes of light they are. Most beautiful planes of beingness. But you want to see your reflective image and similitude itself. You are going to be Narcissus that is going to fall in love. And you fell in love. In love you descended as love. You descended as light. You descended into the matrix called creation. Into the matrix of this sweet and beautiful being known as the Mother, known as Terra and Gaia. She, meanwhile, was dreaming away. She was dreaming her dreams. She was smelling her perfume, her roses, her garden. She was breathing her lungs. She was playing with her elementals, her deific kingdoms. She was feeling the seeds of emotion. And yes, she was unaware that her son may have crept in. Her light, her child, had actually come in. But something within her knew that there was something in her womb as well. The womb of creation itself, the heart of love itself. It was known within her beingness. She knew she had light within her. But she was still asleep. She was resting. She had presented her creation. You, divine creator in its creation. And so we have gestated. We have gestated for a while. And we have learned about ourselves as the light, as the love child itself. Indulged by our mother, given everything by our mother. Look at the Garden of Eden that we are, that we created in the outpicturing itself. Through the beautiful fruits. The tree of knowledge, even. Everything we would want to know about ourselves. We would come in, originally, as we may say, in the ethereal consciousness, as the light tentatively stepping upon the sea of creation itself, just testing the waters. Mind you, just testing. And of course, in the testing of the waters, what do we do? As you have heard me say before, we flew with the eagles. We danced with the bears. We slithered as the snakes. Why? We are melting part of our consciousness, beloved. We are not quite ready, but we want to know what it is like to be in a slightly denser vibration, for we are light. Do not forget that, beloved. You are light. Light was Spirit's sigh. So we tested our creation. And we became excited. It felt right. Soaring in the creation. Swimming as the dolphin. Calling to each other in our seas of creation itself. We melded the consciousness with our creation. That was the beginning of the tasting of the mother. Oh, how exquisite and how delightful. And then we said, now let us do something else. Let us fully come in. How did we come in? We came in as an innocent light being. We had stepped down ourselves from the, we may say, the ladder of creation. We descended from the light. Homo erectus. We stood up. We were still innocent. And we would say that in our innocence we are a hunter-gatherer species of beings. We had even prior to that presented ourselves even in the outpicturing as the hermaphrodite, not quite ready to see ourselves in what we call a duality concept. We were still the oneness and we were stepping down, and yes, we said, now let us densify. And so of course we presented ourselves with, we may say, certain traits. The traits of the duality of the male and the female, or the androgyny that is outpictured. For you are the oneness, beloved. You are the androgyny in itself, outpictured in the hermaphrodite. Now what is the point of that? You were standing up as Homo erectus, but again it was for you to experience here. So, yes, the decision from your higher manus, from your higher self, was to split yourself off from a unicell into a two-cell situation. And thus, the journey of Adam, the Adamic principle, the beginning of the great Adam Kadmon took off. The great light man, the light being, and when I say man, manifestation, not any gender, dear heart, with me. I am beyond that consciousness. And in that play, we may say, and in that role of separating as the male and the female through the Homo erectus, you learned it as innocence. You played in your gardens. Everything was given to you. Nothing to fight for, nothing to be concerned about. Yes, you then started to become aware of each other for what would take place. Now you cannot say and stay just as an innocent light being, we may say. You have come to experience nature. Now nature is a very interesting being. You are very interesting as nature, as Mother Nature. You are time, you are form, and you are cyclical. You are going to repeat. You are going to come into repeat patterns of consciousness, for that is what your creation is. Your creation up to the Homo erectus, up to the ethereal consciousness known as human, is a repeat, and we may say a splendid plethora of repeat patterns. Set formats, set patterns that will simply repeat through the time consciousness of known as nature, going around spring, summer, autumn, winter. You have many ways that you will learn. For you see, nature on one level is a death cycle as well. She is a repeat pattern, so she keeps repeating herself and repeating herself, and she dies and then she is reborn, and so it goes on. And in choosing to descend, you had to learn more about yourself. So we may say the age of innocence had to go. You could not just, for you are going to awaken your mother. You are going to awaken as the divine light itself in the mother itself. She is a nature being by now. She has gone to sleep. She is still dreaming. She knows that she has a seed within her. The Son of Man that is going to become the Son of God itself. The light of all that is. The Christ being. The anointed of love in the physical. And so you learned about yourselves, dear ones. So there was, we may say, a development of your manners, of your mind. To learn about feeling. To make love and to split the cell so that you would outpicture what we call the Adamic principle. And you would learn about feeling. Now it does not matter what the cosmology is, beloved. It does not matter how we have seen in our myths what took place to cause us and to get us to look at and perhaps even hesitate as to where we are now. We can carry on blaming each other and we can write many scripts of blame. It is immaterial. Why? Because you're the light, beloved, and you simply outpictured the form. And therefore we can wrap that one up immediately and let go of all the mythologies. Beautifully. Behind every myth is a fact. I am that itself. Here, now. You learned about yourselves. You experienced yourselves and you split off as the one love, the one light in many, many. The diamond split off billions of facets, to such an extent you kept recreating your facets. So beautifully done. To learn more in the sea of deep emotion, the mother. And of course you felt those emotions through her outpicturing for her sun and for her moon. For she is a solar being as well. She has created herself as a solar creation as well. So she is immediately germane to the, we may say, influences of her outpictured zodiacal consciousness, her solar consciousness. Through her great galaxies, through her great corridors, from the Milky Way, from the solar consciousness of her sun and the moon, and we may say the celestial bodies. She is a nature being, she is form, she is cyclical. She is solid, she is mass. She is E equals mc squared, beloved. She is all those things. You are all those things. And in the expression, and in going into the sea of deep emotion, you learned about yourself and chose even, we may say, to shut down from your higher vortexes, from your divine levels of creation, from, we may say, your chakra energy fields. The ganglionic nerve center was, we may say, severed to a certain extent. Why? Because you had to know more about yourself linearly. You had to know more about yourself through your mind consciousness. This was important, for you are here to firm the base. You are here to firm the mother in her physical matrix. You went into it. You had to know everything about her. You had to know what it was like to make love in the outer picturing. You had to know what it was like even to go into, we may say, some of the animal consciousness, for you are a human animal, dear ones, as well. Not in denial. You went into nature. You are a nature man. And yet you are a divine man itself. You are a nature being. An innocent nature being. And nature is so innocent. But you also could not just stay as an innocent nature being. You had to learn about who you were. You had to have the mind of creator to learn more. You had to awaken as divinity. And thus you would have to explore all the realms. You would have to go as Psyche into the underworld. You would be the divine light, beloved Psyche, who is going to go into the underworld itself of the beloved womb of the mother. Psyche fragmented, went looking for her pieces, and what has happened now? You are Psyche awakening to Eros itself. Eros, the love, the light that you are, is claiming you in your heart's love. That is what is happening. You had to go in. You had to learn, beloved. And there has never been a judgment in that choice. And yes, you learned about yourself from the heart chakra down, as we will say. And how did you learn about yourself? What did you know more about your form consciousness? Look at your base chakra. This is your base pyramid. It is going to be the form consciousness. And what did you do in your outpicturing? Through your mind, through your incredible imagination, you fell in love with form. And in the form was the identification was so strong. What did you outpicture? The security about your form, masters. And thus we may say the security drama took off. Through, we may say, the over-identification with materialism. Listen to the word, dear hearts. Material. Don't forget you are material. You are the matrix. You are the fabric itself of the material consciousness as well. You are the form consciousness. You are the E equals mc squared, beloved of my heart. You're everything. And you said, how am I going to feel? What is it going to be like to know and experience my form consciousness as well? And what did you do? In the splitting of the cell, as you've heard me say, you are not stupid. Part of you has some inkling that there is something interesting when you see the animals mating. Dating, mating as I call it. Mating, dating. And so, of course, you coupled. You became in that consciousness, in that emotion energy, through the mind of wanting possession. The possessional consciousness was so strong. You wanted to know what it was like. You had forgotten that you were union. You had forgotten that from the one came the two. You had forgotten that you were the unity child, the love child, the light itself. You had forgotten. You had gone into the dream with the mother. You had gestated just as she was still dreaming away in her creations, through her kingdoms. And you experienced deep emotion. You remembered love, but you were not receiving at the time perhaps the consciousness of your divine spirit level steering you as the sun, as the light, as the child, the sun itself. You had then chosen to outpicture your sons and your daughters in your beingness, in the coupling and remembering union. For if you, and I know that you will understand, when two people make love from the heart, what happens? They are lost in time. They are selfless, not self. They are love experiencing its beingness. They are melded in that love. It is the remembering of union. They have forgotten themselves in the desire to give themselves, but they cannot. The love, the light cannot give itself to another form, even though that has been your experience. For you are the divine masculine and feminine already, and therefore there is nothing to possess, and you are now beginning to understand this. And all is well. And the solar plexus. Oh dear. Need I say more? For it is the seat. It holds, we may say, the companion of your experiences. It is the seat of relatedness, the seat of relationship. It has been and it is held as a storehouse of all your experiences. Your wounded, it has held the sacred wounds of your child when it has felt rejected. For the child, the nature child, in wanting to possess, not forgetting and forgetting, we may say, what it is, that it is the love child itself, the divine light child. The nature child, of course, in nature always looks outside of itself. It is its form, its shell consciousness. And so, of course, in your possessional consciousness, you stored many memories, many words. Many, we may say, the rejected child, the wounded child, the tantrum child. We call it many. Our wonderful, we may say, transpersonal therapists have so many names for it now. At least we are beyond the clinical understanding of the child at last. How wonderful. What a kindergarten we have been. And yet, it is not to be negated or abjured. Why? For we needed to know more about ourselves. We needed. It was our choice to do this. The sun has always been given creative fiat. And so, of course, in your creative imaginations, imagine. You are the visualization, you are the imagination. You are it, beloved. You are creator in creation. You have been given the creative fiat when the Father said, go forth, my beloved, my light, my love, go forth. And remember, you have creative fiat, for you are me and I am you. There is only I am that I am. In my trinitized concept, I am creator, creation, and the light of my being. You. I am all that is. I am no gender. And yet I will step down myself in all the realms in my duality principles of my masculine and my feminine. And yes, I will step down even further in my form shell for my Adamic principle, for my Adamic pattern. And thus I will present myself as a male-female consciousness. And so it was stored in your solar plexus. And the heart, the wounded heart, bury my heart at wounded knee is the expression, not in negation of some of the outpicturing. And the heart held the emotions. For you had gone into the sea of deep emotion. Emotion, beloved. The emotion as you would look at somebody. The polarity. the law of attraction. For you are the glue, you are the love, you are the universe. So what did you do as the universe? You fragmented even further. And yet every single time, the love that you experience, for that is who you are. You are the masculine and feminine, you are the divine light itself, in and split off in its duality. And so of course you are going to bring in the law of attraction on every level of your being, and of course you will have your divine complements in every part of your being, in your creations. But you are beyond that as well, beloved. You are beyond. You are the unmanifest as well, in the manifest creation. And so the heart chakra became a double heart chakra. For you see, the heart, the divine heart, the sacred heart, is the mother of your being. It is the divine womb. La salle de la Sacre Coeur, the sacred heart, the room of the sacred heart itself. But you had forgotten, for you were asleep, and all is well. You are awake. You are awakening as the collective Christ. You are awakening as the universal love itself, the sun, the light, the daughter, the sun. You are awakening as the love principle in the mother. For this is what you agreed to do. This is what you said. We will go into this. We will go into the womb of our mother. We will seed ourselves, and then we will awaken. And that was the message that a sweet and precious brother left for us. No more or less than you. A sweet brother who always said, you too as I. But you see, he had awoken. And yes, it does not matter how the script was written for this soul to incarnate. You too are the love child. You too are the Christ light. You too are the Buddhic Krishnic light. It has no name, beloved, other than I am. That I am. He left the message. He showed us we were the Immaculate Concept. He showed us that we were perfection before we were born, and that we had only outpictured, we may say, the fall, that we had forgotten in our dream spell, and we were spellbound, and we had gone into the web of time itself, and oh, what a tangled web we weave. When first we practiced to deceive, we deceived ourselves. Germain is very smart. He writes some wonderful things. Shakespeare did. And you are awake. And I am now in that beingness, encouraging you to surf the net. I will use many metaphors. Any way but which way, in order to get your attention as to what is happening within you. Now you see, as you are awakening from what we call the historical paradigm itself, for time is the history, and time is out, dear ones. And many of you are awakening now as the collective Christ itself. Now, if the Christ realms decide that they wish to present a particular figure, but I do not feel this is the case at all, then so be it. I am aware that many dear ones are saying that there is Maitreya on this planet. Dear heart, we are all Maitreya. Now, we may say, yes, that in the awakening on this beautiful terror, every single soul is open and open to the greatest potential that they are able to receive in the outpouring of the great realms of the Christ, the great ascended host, the great celestial archangelic planes of consciousness. Beyond and beyond, masters, for this is universal Christ. Not just solar Christ, not just solar Logos. This is the universal Christ itself coming in to pick up its universe, not just this little sweet, we may say, planetary being. For she has many mansions, beloved. Many. My Father, I am that, has many mansions. And that is mainly, as our sweet scientists are now discovering, unified fields at last. Oh, how exciting. They are starting creator and creation coming together in the scientific paradigm of understanding. And we may say, hooray, the chaos theory is alive and well. For order has triggered the chaos. Order is I am that itself. And there must be agitation for a new birth to take place. This is what I'm saying to you. Now, I am going to get down to the nitty-gritty here further. Now, we understand that many of you, as you have been awakening, you have been challenged, we may say, or felt very challenged in your emotional concepts, in your mental concepts, the mental body, the emotional body, the four lower bodies, we will say, the etheric consciousness even. You have felt very challenged because of the drama karma that has been presented. You have felt challenged in your relationship. Remember what I said to you. There is something else that Joshua said. And it is a very, we may say, tenuous expression, which if people choose to misunderstand, that must be their choice. For the language is so inadequate, and the interpretation of this great Christ being that presented to awaken you to the Christ being. There were many interpretations. But suffice it to say, he expressed, you must hate your mother, your father, your sister, your brother. Now, what he meant by that was not the emotional context. He simply said you must arise and what we call transcend the biological function that you think you are. Because you are in a nature matrix, because you are in a biological outpicturing through the nature man, you have forgotten that you are divine man, that you have come here and you have deliberately come into nature. You have descended into this matrix, into this creation, not to stay there, dear ones, not to become the animal kingdom, not to stay as the animals, constantly procreating all the time. You are here to awaken and divinitize through your very form consciousness, through your very love, heart principle, not the emotional principle, not the emotions of nature. You have come to awaken as divine man, as spirit in matter. You have come to transfigure matter. This is what you have come to do. You have forgotten. You have fallen so fast asleep that you are engrossed in your lower natures. It was not to deny nature. It was to honor the mother. It was to divinitize her being itself. The matrix is to be divinitized through your, what we call form shells, through your life ways, as we will say, your life streams. All that happened was you fell in love like Narcissus with your reflections outside of each other and through each other and wanted to possess each other when there is nothing to possess. You are each other, beloved. You're the light, the love in reflections of your being. This is what you are. And so what we are saying to you here now is we are aware that you have had many challenges now in the awakening of the divine in matter. We are going to give you a further out picturing that many are talking about and must be honored. For you see, Mother as a geophysic being, as a creation, has to what we call be germane or applicable to certain cycles of her beingness. She must experience what we call the moments of awakening and sleeping, as we will say. She is a cyclical being, and therefore she is completely, we may say, germane to what takes place within her through the planetary bodies, through the sun. Now, this is a one-sun system. You and this creation must move through into more than one sun.
For you see, this is part of the dust creations, as we will say. This is the beginning of the matrix of creation itself. And therefore the sun, the one sun system in the outpicturing has what we call a lifetime. It is restricted, we may say, in its life consciousness. Already our scientists are picking up that the sun is dying. Now, what I mean by that, do not be alarmed. It's going to go for a long, long time, but what we are saying to you is that there is a very strong energy, and when the sun starts to show and to move through, there is what we call an increased energy of solar flares. Now, let me give it to you further before anybody gets alarmed here. And I'm certain that you are beyond that.
End of side 1.
As the divine Christ, the Christos, which is the anointed of love, we must now allow for the anointing to take place. And it is beyond the historical paradigm. For you see, Mara presents the historical paradigm through the nature cycle of repeat cycles. Now they can only keep going round and round and round until finally they run out of steam, as we would say. She is now choosing to spiral out. Why is she doing this? For she is wishing to resurrect herself. This is the awakening of the mother itself. She is wishing for that. There is an awakening through you as the seed, as the star seeds, the light seeds coming in, and you are stirring. And that is the reason why many of you have picked up a very strong ecological consciousness with your mother. You have felt that love with your mother, for she is you. You have felt so connected with your mother. And yes, perhaps we may say in some of your activist behavior, in your emotions, you have always said right and wrong, it doesn't exist, there's no such thing. All that has been happening is you're waking up. And that is all. And waking up sometimes can be hard to do. And so, what we are saying to you is that I love to sing with people as well. So what we are saying to you here is that the outpicturing is that there is a clear understanding that she is starting to what we call withdraw from her time buffers. In the outpicturing, her magnetic, electromagnetic fields are dissipating. And that is the reason why many of you are experiencing synchronicity. This is better than just the outpicturing, and this must be honored. For this is a geophysical being who must be honored. She is geomagnetic. You are what we call electric, and you are beyond that. You are simply being pulled in for the experience in nature as a soul. For you see, I have been speaking to you, beloved, as the soul. I understand the life picturing and the what we call life waves and life forms and life streams consciousness. And that is why you've been so caught up with your forms, because you have been convinced it was real. It is on one level. But on another level, you are simply having a human experience, we would say, as soul. And it is soul now that is being asked to fulfill its purpose. You came as soul travelers. Soulful travelers at times, some of you have said. And we understand that. We understand. But you came as soul travelers into creation itself, from the light descended. And therefore now, it is, we may say, extremely important that you fulfill your missions. Now, when people say to me, what is the mission? You have heard me say very clearly, get out of the way. That is your mission. Now, what do I mean by that? You are soul. You are beyond historical paradigms, beloved. You are beyond what we call physical realms of consciousness. You are the divine in the form consciousness, in the matrix called Mother, in the creation. You are creator. So the result is now creator wants to take over in creation. Now, why do you keep picturing and outpicturing your thought forms? You are still creating, dear ones. You were given creative fiat. And what have the thought forms been? Fear about your death. The fear of losing the perishable body. Losing somebody else. Possessing somebody else through your outpicturing. Buying each other through your fear about money. Selling your child itself to each other through the security issues. Well, there are many ways we can put it. The fear has been tremendous, and the materialistic consciousness form has been fighting all the way. Why? Because in your phenomenal imagination, as the divine sun, as the divine light in here, the creator said, you are the only self-conscious being, beloved. The rest of the creation here is simply what we call group consciousness, inert consciousness, waiting to be awoken, waiting to be translated itself by you, by your consciousness. You hold all the kingdoms within your beingness, the lot. And so, of course, you are the mother. But the mother can only be awoken through divine love, not emotion. She can only be awoken through the Father principle within yourself. Through the I am that within yourself, beloved. And therefore what we are saying to you now, every single soul, every beloved soul on this planet is receiving this system through the outpouring of the grace of all that is, through the great ascended host, through the great divine I am that, through the Father principle. And when I use these expressions, you have understood now that I am not talking gender. I have not reduced it to that level, dear one. We know that it has been a very, very, what we call, acrimonious consciousness, the so-called attitude of gender from this earth planet. For there has been either too much, we may say yang, or too much yin. And there has always been pendulum swings of the mental body or the emotional body. So, but that is fine. This has been part of the journey in nature. Nature, man, that you have experienced. Nature manifestation, for that is the manifestation of beingness in nature itself. Every soul is at different stages of the awakening. It is important that you understand where my consciousness comes in. I ask that you forget the form. I ask that you forget the name Anne Francis. I ask that you accept what you are hearing within your heart, within your beingness, in honor of who you really are. You are souls here. That spirit, that your divine Father, your divine higher self, your over self, and beyond now wishes to stay in this matrix in order to assist the mother to transfigure with such love, with such gentleness, without it being, we may say, a dramatic birth. She does not have to have a dramatic birth. She, yes, as you have heard me say, as a geomagnetic entity in the outer picturing for Creator, she will be applicable to certain, we may say, rhythms of consciousness, certain rhythmic cycles where she has to shake loose a little now and then. And of course, particularly at this moment, she is not just, we may say, an appendage to the rhythmic cycle of the zodiacal consciousness. She is receiving the consciousness of the universe at this moment in time. So there is a dimensional shift for her as well as a magnetic, potentially a magnetic shift. But again, you are in command of this, dear ones. You are the consciousness that can balance this mother and stabilize her and honor who she really is. It is to love the being that you are. For that is the mother. When people talk to me about pollution, I say the greatest pollution is our thoughts. Now you see, again, I am not talking about transformation. I am not talking about adaptation. I am not talking about reformation. I am talking about transfiguration, beloved. Not to repeat what we call the old wine in new skins and the new skins in old wine. No, none of that, dear one. We are simply saying to you that it is important where you are. You would not be here otherwise, beloved, and you would not have contacted and connected with this manifestation in front of you. Many of you have been working with this manifestation as part of, we may say, the service to greater all that is. Forget how you see the form, dear one. It is the Christ that is working with you and has been working with you for some time through this manifestation, just as you too are the Christ awakening in your being. There is no ego here. It cannot exist for this to take place. We are asking you to let go of your historical paradigms and your pictures of how you perceive yourself. We know exactly where every single soul is vibrationally. No one but no one knows where anybody is, other than I am that in all. We are asking you, when you've heard me say about your mission, is to allow yourself, one, to let go of the historical paradigm as to how you see yourself intellectually, spiritually, religiously, philosophically, ideologically, and so it goes on. Words, words, words. We are asking you to let go. We are asking you to allow your hearts to open, to allow the great divine Shakti itself, to allow the Holy Spirit awakening, the life force awakening within this creation, within you, its very being, its very, we may say, highest matrix, self-conscious matrix, as the nature man, as the divine manifestation awakening. We are asking you to allow Spirit to stare you. Don't try anymore. This is what we are saying to you. Don't try. Now, some of you are awakening in different ways. And it is most important that I acknowledge every beloved being on this planet, for there is only the beloved in front of me, in all that I see, including these great creation levels through the Mother, in all her kingdoms. There is only the divine love creator creations. And yes, in the historical, we may say, journey, in the time vortexes that we have experienced, in the, we may say, the paradigms of history, which have been based on past, present, future projections through our thought forming and through our, we may say, experiences, no matter what the experience is. We have had, we may say, a potential to, we may say, fractionalize ourselves in consciousness, to even spiritually decide that one God is better than another God. Now, we've had a wonderful time creating an outside deity. And I'm saying, you're it. You are where the buck stops. Congratulations, dear heart. You're it. And therefore, all it requires you to do, you are the sun, the light. You are the soul consciousness that was steered by spirit levels into its creations in order for it to know about itself, unfold itself, and keep recreating itself in what we call its creation matrix. Not just this creation. Spirit is moving this whole universe through. Spirit is awakening through the understanding, we may say, of slipping in through the crack of time. Now, I won't go into all of that, except that this is the awakening. And this is where the Father principle, the great unmanifest principle, the great Brahma comes in and picks up its creations to its awakening to further expansion of itself. I'm giving it very simply through some of the Eastern concepts, dear one. I would like to come in. I would like to feel your energy, beloved. Thank you, dear one. And so what we are saying to you is every single being is awakening, whether they are aware of it or not. The collective son, the collective unity child is awakening. Now, part of the diamond, and we will get the diamond again, is that you are, we may say, a diamond. And what a magnificent diamond you really are. You are the light. You are the brilliant facets itself. Even geometrically, we will say, in sacred geometry, you are moving from what we call the cubic function into a metamorphic process through the patterning of the Mother in her matrix. She is, we may say, a simple tetrahedral physics in the matrix. And in the outpicturing, she is going through a metamorphic stage, and she is moving into a higher octave, and she's moving through into what we call the icosahedric physics. Now, I won't say too much about that because it is unnecessary, but some of the scientists here may understand what I am talking about here. She is in a metamorphic stage. She is still the same, what we call silica-based, but she is moving through to a more advanced metamorphic stage in the geomagnetic and geophysic consciousness herself as an outpictured creation, or we may say a planet. Now, you are experiencing this. And that is the reason why you're experiencing the quickening, because the Mother is quickening within her beingness. Her core is flashing very powerfully, her magnetic fields are dropping away, and you are experiencing synchronicity. And so, of course, because the time buffers are going. This is really what is taking place. And all is perfection. All is perfection. But your job, Masters, spaceship enterprises, or earthship enterprises, one lovely brother conveyed at a meeting recently. You have decided to be in the control rooms. Now, we're going to ask you to be the commanders, not the controllers. The commander, as the sweet brother turned around so beautifully and said, that they can see where they're going. The rest of what we call the clientele in the earthship, as we will say, is not the slightest bit interested. We'll probably read the magazines. We'll watch the film 3 times. We'll go to sleep or feed the kids now. This was so beautifully and succinctly put by a sweet brother, and it was a beautiful metaphor. A beautiful metaphor. But you are in the control room. Why? Because you are part of the diamond. You are, we may say, the critical mass that is taking off. You came in for this, dear ones. You came in. And that is your mission. The mission is to command the I Am Presence to take part of every particle of your being, to take command of every particle of your being. You get out of the way, masters. You are a form consciousness, you are the soul, but it is soul now that is calling the great Father levels, the great Christ levels, in your Christing, as we will say. In the anointed of love that you are choosing for the anointing for this beautiful mother, to be anointed with what we call the Christ itself, the Christ child. And therefore, it requires you to simply let go of how you perceive yourself and you perceive others. And some of you, yes, you are feeling so challenged, for you have come, some of you have awoken up bang in the middle of a family situation where your family do not even understand and are not even awake. And we understand. There is no judgment, for they are all the sparks of the divine. Whether they are young souls, mature souls, goodness knows what souls, it doesn't matter from what star systems, what universes, what seeding they have come from. They have come. And many have come and came to experience creation. And they're at different stages of whether we call them awake or not. They are still the beloved. Now, we are saying to you, there is another expression that I am going to put to you, and I am going to lay it on the line. The first principle and your first responsibility is the Creator. That is the first commandment. Love the Lord thy God. You, from your higher levels, from your divine levels, that's what God means. Your divine manas, your divine overself, your higher self, your Christ realms, your Shekinah realms, your Holy Spirit realms, your Father universes, the Son universes, the Paradise sons, and so they go on and on and on. Your first responsibility, beloved, as a soul, is spirit. It is not a physical vehicle. Now you may choose that I am not ready for this, and there is no judgment. But when I hear people say, I want to serve God, then I will again, and I will repeat this. Then your divine higher self hears this and says, I will compel you to be sincere. Now serving God is when only thy will takes off. Now we understand many are not feeling thy will at the moment. We understand this, and many of you are feeling challenged. Now, some of you will present beautifully because you are not yet ready to let go of what we call the physical realms. You see, what I'm here to say, some of you chose to come in and said, this is the last time we're going to incarnate and carry on the karma drama. Now, the humankind or the human species is going to go on for hundreds and thousands of years, but hopefully, through your consciousness, through your awakening in your divine heart's love, through the divine spirit levels, we can bring some form of balance to this beautiful planet. This mother can at least have a son in her out picturing through the Adam-Eve principle of what we may say, a mold or a son. A clay pot that perhaps is slightly more balanced than it has been. Do you see what I'm saying here? At least we can bring some balance, for the mother, in order to be transfigured, must go through a balance. The heart and the mind of emotion must balance. And you, dear hearts, are the ones that are presenting it. This is the reason why you have felt very challenged. For what are the emotions? Not just the outpicturing with what we call a brother perhaps who has been in your life, or we may say a family scenario where your family needs you or you have felt they need you. It is called ego. No one needs you, beloved. Need does not exist in the divine higher self at all. There is a giving and a sharing. There is a oneness. But yet we understand it as a paradoxical situation. For in order for you to serve the divine, it is for you also to accept the beloved in all. It is important for you to acknowledge in every beloved being that you see that you are looking at the divine. You don't have to say it. It's feeling it and being it. Being, you remember, Mother Mary said, speaking words of wisdom, let it be, as our sweet Dwayne said. And so it is the beingness. Now in that beingness, some of you are being, again we may say, challenged in the emotional factors. About how your family feel about it, and you must let it go. For that even may be part of what we call your transfiguration through crucified levels. We will not go into the emotive context, it's not necessary. But very often your greatest friends are those who are going to crucify you. As we know, and as sweet brother said, very often the person who's shared the thanksgiving at your table is the last person who's going to understand you and accept you. It's very not your family. Your family is the divine light. It has nothing to do with biological scenarios. I'm going to be very honest with your hearts, and I'm very strong about this. It has nothing to do with the biology. You have come here to transfigure a nature principle. This is what you are here to do. Some of you may feel that you are not ready to do this. But at least we ask if you will just hold the heart of love. If you will just be more balanced in your relationship and what we call accept that maybe your lover or your brother or your family perhaps don't fully understand you, but you feel comfortable about still being with them because the potential is that you still feel at this moment emotions around them. We are not here to push you through. The door is called I am, and until I am comes through you, you will continue I am not. For I am not is always an outpicturing of what you think you are. You are the divine soul here, you are not your body. You are not your mind, you are the divine I am that incarnate as a soul journeyer in a physical creation for you to transfigure in your very beingness. Now, we are saying here that there will always be souls coming into incarnation to be given every opportunity and experience of physical creation. Now, some of you are so beautifully saying, I am not ready yet to let go of my lover or my family or this or that. So naturally we will encourage you to what we call open up to the highest that can be presented for you. The reason being is that the potential is as a soul you have chosen that you still have desires. You see, the desire level is always what we call from the heart chakra down. Now this is not a negation. This is the soul that is not yet ready perhaps to transcend itself. It is not ready to transcend what we call the creation or the physical nature being. And therefore there will always be a learning and a growth outside of yourself, for that is your choice. There are souls here, and of course you will play your part beautifully, and you are on it. And every soul, whether they are awake or not, whether the live streams are aware or not, is presenting its what we call optimum and maximum opening for spirit levels to come in and to what we call help this process. As you've heard me say, humanity is doomed to its perfection, whether it likes it or not. I'm always very happy and jubilant when I hear that. For humanity thinks it's all it is. It's not. It is simply a species of consciousness for Creator, that's all. Some of you have chosen very clearly that you wish and you feel very powerfully you are in love, as we will say, not falling in love, dear heart. I am not talking about the human emotions. Not to negate that emotion has been vital for us to learn more about ourselves, to experience ourselves, and this will always be honored, for this was the journey. But now Spirit is saying, I have souls here that I wish to manifest through them as the Christ itself. Now when I talk about the Christ, and I know you understand where I am coming from, it simply means the anointed. It has nothing to do with an historical figure called Joshua ben Joseph. Yes, Jesus or Joshua, Yeshua, in some people, simply presented the awakening within his beingness and allowed as a soul that he would be transfigured in the human matrix, as we will say, to assist the beginning of what we call the ending of one paradigm in order to awaken to a new and magnificent, what we call divinitized creation, to present the resurrection for a planet. And a beautiful part that he played, but many other ones have played their part, but in more, we may say, civilization consciousness, where they have presented perhaps an expanded consciousness in the arts, the music, the sciences, the literature, the creative levels. And so they played their parts. Joshua came to play a significant role, not as the only Christ, but to start the Christing of a planet. This is what took place, or the Christing or the transfiguration of the Mother herself, the Divine Mother, through the heart of pure love itself. Dear heart, I'm going to suggest that you let go of all your papers, dear heart, because you can only feel the beloved. Wakey, wakey, beloved. Dear heart, would you like to throw away your papers, beloved? The reason I say this to you, it cannot be done through the head. Lop it off, master. I'm saying this to you with love. For you are the heart of love here, and it doesn't require any intellectual technology. It doesn't require any methodology. It doesn't require any technique. It doesn't require any mudras. You do not need any labels, titles, or degrees, or forms, or anything like that. But I'm here to say you are all those things. Just in case somebody thinks I'm being a little bit of a cold blanket, or a wet blanket. You are here as love, and love is all you are. And love is why you came, and love is who you are. And so what I am saying to you, and I know you will understand, sweet brother, you are love here. Feel the love that you are, beloved. Even though you hear my voice and it may sound very strong, I am honoring who you really are. And I will not acknowledge the life stream that thinks it has to write everything down. Let it go, master. Let it go. So what I'm simply saying to you, there are some souls here that are going to present in the full awakening, who are going to walk as the beloved Christs on this planet. And the Buddhas and the Krishnas, what's in a name? It smells as sweet. For it will be the very irradiated love that you are. It will not be what you do, dear heart. Beloved Andrew, it doesn't matter what you do, master. It won't matter. If the beloved, your beingness takes you in somewhere, it won't because of your head. It will because of the heart. The heart of love will steer its physical manifestation through this beautiful soul. And it will be the irradiated love coming from. It will be the magnified field itself, the love, the true love, the beloved itself. For you are in the marriage with the lover and the beloved. You are the lover. You are the lover being claimed by the beloved. You are the bride. And you are being claimed by the bridegroom. For you are the mother consciousness as well. You are the divine Holy Spirit. You are the divine Son being birthed. And at the same time there is a marriage. It is a phenomenal realization. The Trinity, beloved. For many of you are going to choose the Trinity. Many of you will stay in your dualities, but in the duality you will balance beautifully and help the mother in the balancing through your beautiful families, through having no judgment outside of yourself, through, yes, still choosing that you wish your desire levels, and yes, you may still desire your house and still have some desires, and that is to be honored. For you as a soul potentially probably have not chosen what we call, you have chosen to play your part in a different way. No more, no less. It does not exist. There is no right and there is no wrong. But I am here also for dear ones who have come to me personally through this form as we have worked together. And when I say worked, it has been no workshop or anything like that. It is simply an allowance for the great spirit levels to come through and assist energetically in what has been taking place. To help you let go of what you perceive about yourself. To let go, as I said to a dear brother, to lop his head off so many times. And now he's realizing what is not. And he is allowing what is, as we say. The silent witness is the Trinity. And this is what I'm going to encourage with all of you. When you take a Christing, first of all, I will just digress a little. When you take a full Christing, you cannot take somebody with you. I don't care what anybody says, beloved. I don't care whether they have chosen to even what we call reduce Joshua ben Joseph to a relationship with Mary Magdalene. I will say this and address this, for it is my responsibility through the office of the Christ here. There were many, and the name Jesus or Jeshua or Joshua is a very well-known name in the Middle East. There are many, many people who have been called that name. And what has happened in, we may say, the mythology that was, we may say, configured around the master Joshua ben Joseph. Because of the human traits and the human, what we call, outpicturing, and the human justifications, for it does not want to let go of its sexual energies, because it does not want yet perhaps to let go of its animal levels. It chose to, what we call, amalgamate a number of Jeshuas together. And so here we have an incredible, what we call, hodgepodge around Joshua ben Joseph. Now, I will say to you, beloved, Joshua ben Joseph came to undertake as a soul a particular purpose for spirit level, for the Father creation. For him to have reduced himself into the animal level, even though he incarnated into the animal level, just as all of you have done, dear hearts, would have been a travesty of his purpose here. He had to transcend those levels. Now, this, again, I will repeat. And I will keep saying this for dear ones who choose to decide that Anne Francis, or the beloved Christ through Anne Francis, has a problem with sex. I will say very clearly that when a soul comes in, incarnate into a physical level, of course it's going to experience those energy fields. Of course, in the outpicturing, it is going to be very engrossed in those three lower chakras. Sex, power, and money, as I call it, dear heart, because they are all interrelated, and they are the human, we may say, levels and the distortions that have taken place through the human imagination, the human justification, and the human fear. Does that make sense, dear ones? Good. Good. And so other Joshua ben Joseph, who presented a manifested lesson to the word manifest, which is what some of you are choosing to do, and many in the collective Christ are now doing, manifested the Christ in such a way that he transcended those levels. He was not interested in his sexual chakra. Yes, Mary Magdalene was a beautiful girl, and he was tempted and he was tested, dear hearts, I can assure you. He could not override the human script. He had to transcend the human script, just as many of you are now choosing to do. We have had many of the, what we call, dear brothers in the East and in the West. Yes, but not to deny. At no stage does anyone require to be celibate. What I will say, when there are many dear ones who are coming to me who are in a very clear surrender to the divine, and understandably, they are still being what we call challenged in the outpicturing through the lower vortexes, through the base chakras, security, through the sexual chakras. Still some desire as their love is awakening within them. And even if they feel the energy, and many dear ones say to me that someone comes towards them and immediately takes and feels that they've been taken down into their lower chakras, I say, dear heart, it's just human nature happening. All that is happening is that is a what we call tidying up to make certain those levels are clear. And that being the case, just offer. You don't have to deny, just offer it through the great presence. That's all you are required to do. Offer everything. All those chakra levels, all those fears, offer to the presence, dear ones. This is what I'm saying to you. And so this is what took place. He transcended, he transfigured the human vehicle to a divine man. You see, that is the transfiguration that some of you are now choosing. That is also, we may say, the resurrectional process for the collective. We may say, Mother herself, she is transfiguring through another child to come through, which is going to be more balanced in the human species, we will say. Where there is less of the fighting and there will be more balance. I mean, yes, everybody is feeling the fears as they're coming up, because as the light is coming in, the dark does not recognize the light. It is our shadow selves, but they are not to be given a hard time. This is what I'm saying to all of you, beloved. Be patient with your child, your shadow child. Be patient with your fearful child. Be compassionate. Compassion is to understand without any attachment. Step back, masters. Come into your Trinity. Step back and be the silent witness. Yes, don't deny the child of fear that comes up for you. As these levels are being cleared, the whole of this earth is going through this process. There is a massive purification, and for some of you, you are feeling it. Some of you have experienced what feels like death. You have thought, because what's happening is the molecular levels, the DNA levels. Every particle of all the kingdoms are in, we may say, a process of translation at the moment. So you have gone into, we may say, the womb of the mother. You are going right, and you are being taken right into the womb of the mother herself. You're it, being transfigured. And some of you are transfiguring to the Christ itself. Now, when I say this, and again I accept that some may choose that they do not wish to hear this, and they may choose to decide that Anne Francis is talking through her head. Well, I can assure you the heart is here very strongly with all of you. And so it doesn't matter what you think of me, for I is not concerned about a popularity contest. I am beyond that, dear hearts. And that is why I'm here in this manifestation, speaking to you in love, in honor of who you truly are. The divine Son, the divine light itself. You cannot take somebody with you. When a door, or the door I am, presents to you, and the Father, what we call your higher self, calls you through, it will only call you through if it knows you are ready. It will assist you to relinquish, especially dear ones who are saying that they are in love with all that is, that is all they want to do. How may I serve? And I say be. Let it be. Be who you are, and get out of the way of what you perceive you should be doing. Because I am is beyond spirituality, dear heart. It is spirit. And therefore spirituality has played its part. It's a magnificent part, for it has been the seeker searcher, and it is an honorable search, no matter what journey you've come from, the east, from the west. It doesn't matter where you've come from. It doesn't matter what you've done, what techniques, what methodologies, what you've learned through your intellect, how you've created your outside deities. All is well. You've had fun. Some of you have not been too amused, and you have killed each other in that process as well, and all is well. What we call done in the name of the Christ is absolutely incredible. How imaginative can we be? We kept killing our chimeras all the time. Our own shadows we were killing. And all is well. We have been the abused and the abusers, and you've heard me say that one before, dear hearts. And as I said, let's bite the bullet and go home. And let's forget about all of that. And so what we're saying to you here now is some of you are choosing to fully engender the Christ itself. The Christ is beyond the human conditioning. The Christ is love, the beingness that has no interest in anybody outside of yourself, because nothing exists outside of yourself. You begin to realize you are everybody that you see. There is no separation between the cat, the dog, the mouse, the tree, the plant, or what we may say, your reflective images that you see as this dear brother, as I am looking, I'm saying, how blessed I am. Here I am, looking at the beloved in its outpicturing as a beautiful frame here. How blessed to meet the beloved. Unity in diversity, beloved, is who I am. I am is always unity itself. It is the oneness that's simply split off, not just into the two, but that let's even fragment ourselves even more and have some fun here. Let's create 6 billion facets of ourselves and see if we can try and remember and come back as the one diamond again. And this is what is happening. There is a collective dream now. Instead of everyone having separate dreams, you are creating one dream. I have a dream. And the dream is peace on earth and goodwill to all men, to all people. No matter what their creed, no matter what their race, their color, their creed, their forms, their titles, their degrees. Oh, let us throw all of this away, dear. Let us have t-shirts without any titles on. Let us see if we can let go of the designer labels. Let us do all of this. Let us have fun. And let us just be one being in our perfected consciousness. It's love radiating through us. Let us allow spirit now to take over. This is what I am saying to you. And that is what I mean when I talk to you about the transcendent being. Is the master that incarnates in full physical. You do not need to die to be a master. Death is not necessary. It is in the dying that we are born to eternal life. Simply means it is when you let go of the ego, of who you think you are, that you find out that you are, I am that here. Literally. But what I am saying to you, beloved of my heart, no sweet ones that you are. Oh, how sweet. Who is this dear one here? A beautiful soul that has come to bless us with its presence. Again, and in hearing that little voice, please understand that we have souls that are going to come in what we call the human Adam-Eve principle, in the Adamic principle. For this is creation, and it's to be on it, and the mother simply wants what we say, a more gentle child coming through. She wants a more loving child coming through. And so, of course, there are going to be beautiful souls that will choose to incarnate for an experience in the physical realms. But how wonderful that they can incarnate through conscious beings, through beloved, what we call outpicturings of the human creation, to at least have parents where they are not going to require therapy later on in their lives. Do you see what I'm saying here? Where the parents are going to honor their choice and their individualism and not impose what we call their paradigms on them. Not impose what we call their outpicturings that they must be a doctor or this or that because that's where the money is. Where the parents are beyond what we call, and we hope that they are beyond the materialistic consciousness that has controlled this planet for so long. Now I'm very clear that the divine levels are coming in to purify all of this. There is no question about that. And just to say to any dear brothers that keep passing what we call information about panaceas, about droplets in the water, when you clear up your thoughts, the water will be pure, dear hearts. I promise you, dear ones. Let us let go of the panaceas and let us get on with who we really are. This is what I will say very clearly to everyone. Now, I know the enthusiasm of the New Age consciousness that is so powerful, but I'm also saying very clearly, we require Christ on this planet, not what we call new religions taking off here. Now, religion is always remembering. That is all that is about. It is trying to remember who we are. So let us remember who we are by raising our consciousness, not intellectually, but by opening up our hearts, little one, by seeing the joy in each other. No matter what may be presenting outside at the time, what may be the challenge. Look at the beloved little one as I am looking at you and saying how blessed I am, how blessed. That is the greatest gift that we can give no matter where you are as a soul. Don't you decide where am I. Let I am decide I am that here. I am here now. Step back, dear ones. When these thoughts come up for you, when the fear comes up for you in the outpicturing, through the materialistic consciousness that is so strong and may appear to get stronger. It is only what we call the death throes of the old materialism. As the mother is in agitation, we may say, on every level, so of course we will feel it within our beingness, and of course all our issues will come up for us, and we will feel very challenged. It doesn't matter how perfect we think we are perfect. But of course it is our natural propensity intellectually to compare ourselves with each other. Forget it, dear hearts. It is not important. Be who you are the unique belovedness itself. You are the oneness as a unique facet itself. That is the greatest unity and diversity that we can present. Not a one world government. No. We require no government once we know who we are, beloved. But what I am saying to you is when those thoughts and those challenges come up for you, beloved, step back, little one. Step back into your Trinity and call in your beloved presence, for it is your presence that is, again, if you are calling in your higher self, if you are praying to the beloved, no matter how you perceive it, no matter what we may say journey, or what path you may come down, we may say even historically in how you perceive the Christ, or the Buddha, or the Krishna, or whatever, or Muhammad, it does not matter. Call in your higher self to take command and to assist you to relinquish, for it will raise and what we call bring up and purify all the thought forms. This is what we are saying to you. That is all that is happening. It is bringing it up to the surface, especially if you are in a very conscious, we may say surrender or a choice to play your part as a soul on this planet for the highest purpose, ecologically in how you perceive yourselves and how now that you have felt so connected with your mother. Don't become the activist though. Yes, your love informs. Your love informs. It is only the activist that dictates. All right, dear heart, let that go. You are, again, you have been in agitation and you have been raring to get going. And we are simply saying now, just let the energies come up for you. Stand back no matter what appears to be the challenge, little one. Whether it is about the money, whether it is about somebody not agreeing, does not matter. You will be where you are meant to be. And that is another thing. Don't buy into all the earth changes, dear hearts. You are the earth change, beloved. I feel the earth move under my feet. And this is what may happen, dear ones. Let us enjoy and let us go with it instead of against it, dear heart. Let's go with the flow, as we say. And I have fun this way. I love to do that. So let us, what we call, shift and a shake with earth, and we won't even know it is taking place. It is wonderful. Because if we go with the flow, then we will go with her consciousness through the divine levels, for it is the divine Father now coming up to pick up the mother in its beingness through us. This is what is taking place. Step back. Come into your Trinity. Be the silent witness and say, beloved, thy will, not my will. Doesn't matter what you're doing, no matter what is presenting to you. And I do promise, your abundance is love. It is only our mind that has created what we call the over-identification with form so powerfully that we have created a materialistic tendency. Now, there is nothing, and let me also let you in on this one, in case there is a little, what we call, rumor going around that Francis has poverty consciousness. Dear heart, you can leave me hundreds and thousands of dollars and I will be perfectly happy, dear one. I'm simply saying to you, I don't need it. Do you understand what I'm saying here? I have no problems with the consciousness. You know, I'm not, partly consciousness is not knowing who you are, dear hearts. That is all that is. And so my consciousness is extremely abundant, and I don't mind how the abundance presents to me. I'm very happy, dear ones, in wherever I am, at all stages. So I wanted to share that with you, because there is nothing wrong with what we call the crystallization of mind. All that has happened is that energy has been so crystallized that we are still trying to chip away at it. Because it has become such, it has become the mountain in the road itself. And this is what we're saying to you. When you surrender and you call in the beloved presence, I promise you, beloved, I promise you, you will come into your natural flow. The Father, the Creator levels, the flow is who you really are. I am not is who you have tried to be. And you have found it getting in, perhaps increasingly challenging, because you cannot do this anymore, because your spirit and what we call your heart chakras are awake, and your heads cannot rule anymore. Let the heads off, masters, let them off, dear heart. And again,